CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
On the last day of his second-degree murder trial, Crown prosecutors today are painting Corey Barry as an angry man who acted out on his rage. Barry is the man accused in the stabbing death of 15-year-old Justin Wendland at a Douglas Street bus stop in Victoria in 2010. His defense lawyers maintain that Barry was suffering from mental illness and was delusional the night Wendland was killed. CTV's Andrew Johnson was in the courtroom today. He joins us now live with more. Andrew.
Hudson, the Crown says we may never know exactly why Justin Wendland was killed, but prosecutors maintain Corey Barry knew what he was doing the night of the attack. The Crown says Barry may not have been in perfect mental health, but was functioning on all cylinders the night Wendland was stabbed. The prosecutor also says Barry was sharp enough to approach a crowded bus stop, attack Wendland, and make his escape with ease, calling the attack a surgical operation perfectly executed. Barry's defense team maintains there is a solid body of evidence that Corey Barry was struggling to stay in touch with reality on June 3rd, 2010, and there is no evidence of a prior connection between Barry and Vic High grade 10 student Justin Wendland. The trial was scheduled to wrap up today, but will instead conclude on Friday. It could then be weeks before the judge delivers his verdict.
All right, Andrew Johnson reporting. Andrew, thanks. RCMP and NANAIMO are asking for your help tonight. They're trying to find a missing teenage girl, and they're concerned. Dina Root is 17. She went to school yesterday but did not come home last night, and she was not at school today. Dina is 5'7" and weighs 100 pounds. She has blue eyes and short hair. Her family says it is not like her to disappear or to be out of touch, and they are increasingly worried. If you know where Dina is, you're asked to contact NANAIMO RCMP. Emergency crews were called to the Bear Mountain Parkway in Langford this afternoon after a vehicle crashed over a steep embankment. The vehicle went through the guardrail, landing between some trees at the bottom of a 7 to 10 meter cliff. Still no information tonight as to how many people were in the car or the extent of their injuries. RCMP provided none of the information at the scene and have not returned our inquiries. Fire broke out in an apartment building in ESQUIMALT just after 6 o'clock last night. Smoke was pouring from a suite in the complex on LYLE Street. By the time the fire crews arrived, nearly everyone inside was out of the building.
Suite 202, there was minor smoke in the building. The suite was actually full of smoke at the time. When the firefighters went in, it was just a minor fire. The fire was extinguished with very little water. And from there, the suite was actually just ventilated.
Firefighters believe a burner was left on in the suite where the fire started. It sustained minor damage and nobody was hurt. Firefighters from across the province gathered at the BC Legislature today to remember and to honor their own at the dedication of a new memorial that honors firefighters who have died of job-related illnesses and injuries. The association that represents firefighters in the province says its members face dangerous, toxic work environments that can cause cancer and coronary disease.
It's a very proud day for firefighters, also a very emotional day because of, we just keep losing firefighters year after year, and I've just attended too many funerals over the years, and so it's a very emotional day for me as well as a very well celebrated day.
The lives of 6 firefighters were celebrated and remembered today. Students at Vancouver Island University had a close encounter with a strange and massive creature today, a rare fish that dates back to the Jurassic era and is known as a living fossil. Students joined aquaculture technicians moving 3 white sturgeons using a stretcher, taking them into a new holding tank at the International Center for Sturgeon Studies at VIU. The university has housed 8 of the old big fish in an old greenhouse, but the new center is considered to be a better home for the sturgeon and better for research. The largest of the 3 weighs in at about 90 kilograms. That's about 200 pounds, and they are said to date back more than 200 million years.
The research we hope to do at the International Center for Sturgeon Studies is twofold. One, to support the development of a closed containment, sustainable sturgeon aquaculture industry producing caviar and meat for human consumption. And the second part is to develop knowledge that can be used to help conservation groups restore and preserve the existing sturgeon populations in British Columbia rivers.
Sturgeon research at VIU dates back to the 1980s. The International Center for Sturgeon Studies opened in 2011 and holds a variety of specialized lab equipment for forensic and genetic research for the ancient fish. Well, Bell Let's Talk Day yesterday was a huge hit thanks to you. It crushed last year's record, and because of your generosity, it has raised more than $4.8 million for mental health programs across Canada. February 12th, yesterday, Bell committed to donate a nickel for every tweet, every Facebook share, every text, every long-distance call on the Bell system to spark a conversation about mental health issues and to help erase the stigma surrounding them. Over the course of the day, your tweets carrying the hashtag #BellLet'sTalk, as well as all of the messages or calls, amounted to 96 million, a new record. It's the third year for Bell Let's Talk Day, launched in 2010, and it now has a commitment of a total of more than $62 million for Canadian mental health. U.S. President Barack Obama took his State of the Union address on a customary road trip today, visiting a factory in North Carolina. But in the aftermath of the State of the Union, it is Florida Senator Marco Rubio, the Republican, who delivered that party's official rebuttal that had people buzzing around the digital water cooler today.
Than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight. The choice isn't just between big government or big business.
Some are calling it the Aqua Lunge, the new Watergate. It was just a week ago that Marco Rubio was hailed on the cover of Time magazine as a potential Republican savior after his awkward lurch for a drink of water. That potential may have evaporated. He instead became the butt of social media jokes today. Carnival Cruise Lines says it's working to keep its thousands of passengers stranded on board one of its vessels safe and comfortable as that ship is guided to port. But there's a very different story emerging from those on board. Passengers complaining to relatives about the hot and dirty conditions, tales of overflowing toilets and limited food, illnesses caused by the overwhelming smell and presence of human waste with a half-dozen working toilets for 3,000 people. The ship lost power on the weekend due to an engine fire. It's expected to make it under tow to Mobile, Alabama tomorrow. This afternoon, Carnival said it will give each passenger a $500 travel voucher. The mother of a teenage boy who was killed in a crash in Souk last April had her day in court today. While the young man who was behind the wheel watched from the prisoner's box, Lisa Twiddy told the court what it feels like to have lost her only son. CTV's Stephanie Sherlock was there. She joins us now live with more New at 6. Stephanie.
Hudson, David Chasen pleaded guilty to 2 counts, dangerous driving causing bodily harm and dangerous driving causing the death of 15-year-old Nicholas Twiddy. Today, court heard submissions from the Crown and defense as the judge considers sentencing. Dozens of Nicholas Twiddy's friends gathered at the West Shore courts to lend their support, including Maria Forbes and Stephen Livingston. They survived the crash that took their friend Nick in early April of last year. There were few dry eyes as Nick's mother, Lisa, spoke of grief and sadness, anger, and sleepless nights filled with thoughts of revenge. She told stories about her only son, including recounting an Easter morning spent together less than 24 hours before he was killed.
Easter morning, Nicholas and Brittany ate breakfast, and then they went out hunting for Easter eggs that morning. Yeah, and I thought I was pretty lucky because they were pretty old, right? 14 and 15, and then here they were out hunting for eggs that day.
Pictures show a young man with a silly streak who loved his family, his friends, and his girlfriend. Twiddy is looking forward to some closure, but she says she doesn't know how she'll be able to move on without her son. And she says regardless of the sentence, David Chasen still has a shot at a good life, while her son has been robbed of that.
The kids were saying that David's life is over. And that's it for David. Oh, his life is screwed and all this. Nicholas's life is over. Nicholas's life is screwed. David's life will go on, and he'll get to go on and get married and have kids, but he has to choose that.
Court heard that Chasen did not have a valid driver's license at the time of the crash, and the Crown submitted that the others in the car, including Nick, had no idea it was stolen. Both sides agreed to some of the facts, including that the group was heading to Jordan River to spend a day at the beach. Chasen admits to speeding and passing another car on double yellow lines before hitting some gravel and losing control of the vehicle. And due to the volume of information presented and the seriousness of the crimes, the judge elected not to sentence Chasen today. The matter has been put forth to early March. The Crown is asking for 3 years on each count. The defense is asking for a little less time with some credit for time served. Hudson.
All right, Stephanie Sherlock reporting. Stephanie, thanks.
You're welcome.
There is breaking news in Victoria at this hour. Police have taped off an area between Bay and Queens following a report of a hit and run. Possible drunk driver who hit parked vehicles and possibly anything else in the Cook and Empress area fled on foot. Vic PD officers are in the area. They're searching backyards and bushes for the suspected drunk driver involved in the hit and run. If you're in that part of Victoria tonight between Bay and Queens, you'll find it is taped off with police action. Well, 2 NANAIMO Mounties are being recommended for awards after they saved a woman's life. Police say they arrived at her home to find her in her backyard with a stepladder and an electrical cord, preparing to commit suicide. With only seconds to spare, they were able to knock down her fence and keep her safe until paramedics arrived.
For privacy reasons, we're not saying when this happened or where it happened and who the female was. But we had 2 police officers who were being recommended for bravery awards. They went above and beyond the call of duty, and they're instrumental in saving the life of a suicidal female.
The paramedics took the woman to NANAIMO Regional General Hospital for observation and treatment. She is now recovering at home. Students at John BARSBY Secondary School in NANAIMO had a lesson in bullying prevention today. The Canadian Red Cross is teaching the older kids how to mentor younger children to stop bullying at all ages. The NANAIMO School District signed up for the training last year and says it was such a success, it has committed all of its secondary schools to the workshops this year.
This model is unique and special because you have older youth delivering to younger youth. It's not the teacher going into the classroom or the counselor going into the classroom to deliver the information, but this is peer-to-peer mentoring. And we believe that that is a very effective tool to deliver bullying prevention information.
John BARSBY is the 6th of 7 secondary schools in the NANAIMO Ladysmith District to get the training, and students and staff agree the program is worthwhile.
It's giving our kids a variety of skills that they can use in a variety of different ways, and also that they can use in a leadership capacity with younger students. And when they do that, they'll be creating bridges and building relationships with the younger students and be able to help them in additional ways beyond just the lessons.
I think it's important just because if those kids don't get bullied, maybe they live a happier life and succeed instead of turning to drugs and alcohol to help them.
The senior students are expected to create their own lessons after 2 days of training. They will then set out on their own and will help to mentor students from grades 6 to 8 on ways to recognize and to prevent bullying. Students at another NANAIMO school, Forest Park Elementary, spent the day skipping. They weren't skipping class, it was for a good cause. It's the 15th year the school has taken part in the Jump Rope for Heart event. Students are sponsored to skip rope to raise money for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Children from kindergarten to grade 7 took shifts for the full-day event.
The feeling of contributing to the community, fundraising, helping out, the camaraderie of being on a team and working as a team together, and just having fun, and as well learning a little bit about how to keep your heart healthy.
It's the 15th year that the school has taken part. They've raised more than $40,000 doing it. The Heart and Stroke Foundation uses the money for a variety of programs, including research and education.